You were talking a little while ago about that thing that kind of sucks you in. You were using the example of being on your computer and having a problem with it, and all of a sudden you start reacting to it, and how that thing can just pull your consciousness away, pull you into this world in which things aren't right, and now you're reacting to it, which is this adversarial reaction, contraction, whatever you want to call it, in your relationship between you and the present moment. And you don't see it that way because you're so caught up in it. And if you look neurologically, and I think one of the interesting books about this, The Emotional Mind by Joseph Ledoux, which became some of the stuff that Daniel Goleman cited in his original book on emotional intelligence, is that it's a neural hijack, or to even be more specifically, amygdala hijack. The amygdala, this part of your limbic system that registers emotion. We have these synaptical roots in our brain that are pre-coded, that are part of our inheritance in our genes genetically, and that we've created through growing up and living our life. They're like little connections in the brain from one place to another. And all of a sudden you're on your computer and something goes wrong and you get frustrated. What's happened is these little synapses go right down this route, and immediately you have this hijack. What's happened? Well, everything was going along fine. Everything seemed to be really great. And all of a sudden your whole brain now has gotten hijacked. A major synaptical route right to the amygdala, the reactory mechanism inside your brain. Now it jumps up and this is wrong, this is a problem, whatever. And we all have different ones. Some people will react just by shutting down. Some people will react violently in anger towards other people. Somebody will react in this overwhelmed, I'm just overwhelmed, everything is wrong. But whatever it is, it's like everything was going on, and all of a sudden, boom, all systems are...
It just grabs you by the throat.
Yeah, by the throat. And you're caught in the drama. You're so caught in the drama that you are the drama. And you're living it, and you're inhabiting it, and your emotions and everything have just like taken over. And at that moment, you're so far from presence. You're so far from the simple awareness that this moment, this is all there is. That this is perfection, that this is exactly as it should be. You're so far away from that, that if another person were to tap you on the shoulder and say, calm down, well no, I mean, calm down, this is just the present moment and is exactly as it should be, you're liable to punch their lights out.
Yeah.
I mean, because that is not what I want to hear at this moment. Oh, don't give me that stuff about the present moment, you know, this is a problem.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just, it's so hard to get from there to here.
Well, you have to have a deep value as to why. You have to really want to change the course of your life. You really want to, you have to want to evolve into this possibility that we have to be more conscious, to be more aware, to be more alive in awareness, to be not in the same old groove all the time, the same old reactory groove all the time that's taken us over and over in a very karmic way to the same place. You have to really, really value wanting to wake up, wanting to have it be different, and to know that you have the possibility to evolve into a higher quote-unquote being. And I think this is the reason we're on this earth, really, is to evolve into a higher being, to a higher source of being. And it isn't easy.
Well, it's a deprogramming process.
Oh my
it's
God,
a
it is.
reprogramming, a rewiring of the brain and all of the history. It's not just your own personal history from the day you were born, it's all the history of mankind all the way up until you were born. And particularly your family lines and so forth that you've genetically inherited. It's all of that wiring. But, I mean, the good news is it's not insurmountable. In fact, it's just right here. It's just this. And it's like snapping out of it, just snapping out of it. And then continually snapping out of it, and little by little seeing it and getting it. And it's a little bit like those Freddy movies, you know, those, forget what they were called, you know, those horror movies with the guy Freddy that has the long knife-like fingers, you know, right? And he comes to you in your dream, but really when you realize that it's just a dream and it's not real, it has no hold on you. But when you don't realize that and you're caught in it, it has a real hold on it. It'll kill you. It'll suck your life away. It'll carry you down a route in which at the end of your life you look back and say, how did I get sucked into believing that dream? And it's Nightmare on Elm Street. You know, it's
really, when you think about it, in actuality, when we live in our thought processes, when we live in the heavy, heavy, heavy thought processes that seem to just chase us through our lives, we're actually living in a dream. You know, we are not really with our life. We're not really driving the car. We're really not shopping. We're really not doing the dishes. We're really not doing whatever job we're doing in front of us. We are living in a dream that our thoughts are constantly saying, oh, well, this should be this way, this should be that way, why this, why me, why now, why did he say this, why did she do that? You know, the mind has got its story just going, nagging us to death. So we really miss our lives, and in a way, we're living in a dream. We're not really with our life as it is unfolding right now.
Yeah.
We're living in a dream world, honestly. Yeah. It's the craziest thing, and we have no idea this is happening. It has captured us from practically when we're like age 2, I think it starts up really big time, and then it carries on until we're ancient, like, well, like 50 years later, 60 years later, 70 years. People die in their dream world. They die with this thought of, he should not have done this to me, bitter and angry, on their deathbed. They die with it.
Yeah.
So to wake up from that and to want it to be different has got to be, first of all, it has got to be even recognized as a problem. First of all, it has to be even seen. And those of us who've been on the path of enlightenment or spirituality or whatever you want to call it, have gotten a glimpse. But even those of us who've read thousands of books, and sometimes I feel like I've read thousands, and have gone to teachers and satsangs and gurus and listened and looked and learned and listened to CDs, countless of them, and DVDs, all that we've learned is still we can fall asleep very easily and want things to be different and fall into that imaginary place and listen to those thoughts. It's really amazing what a strong hold it has on us. And I think that, like I've said over and over again, you have to want things to be different very, very. You want to have to change the insanity that seems to exist in our world.
Right.
And your own insanity.
Right.
You really have to want it very badly.
Well, I read and we shared a while back about a study that was done at Emory University in which they were studying schizophrenia, and that they were theorizing that the schizophrenic is actually living a waking dream. The same mechanism that creates a dream in which you could be flying or a monster is chasing you and you wake up in a cold sweat and it seems so real, and virtually anything, almost like whatever you did yesterday, you know, little elements of that get mixed up into the dream, and it just, this world, this spontaneous creation of a world is happening, and while you're asleep and while you're in that dream, it's reality. So they're theorizing that schizophrenics, while they're awake, who can often believe that somebody inside the TV is talking to them, that my wife has been replaced by an alien and it's not really her, she was killed, and you know, and that sort of thing. And they can believe these things because anything that can enter into their mind, something that happened yesterday, something that just happened, they look at it like the dog does and they go, and then they think, this could be happening. Anything that they can imagine now takes on a reality. And the virtual reality that we were talking about in the last segment that gets spawned from this, now they're living in and they can't seem to do anything about it.